Nowadays, even at night, nothing is ever fully dark. We have computer screens, and desk lamps, and streetlights, and car lights. We have these fake suns just about everywhere, and just like how our sunlight can completely drown a scene to give it a time of day and also a mood, artificial lights are the exact same. Now, let's hop into some of the most common sources and understand what kind of impact they can make on the scene. The first is probably the very first source of artificial light in history of ever, which is candlelight and fires. Now, I'm hoping everyone has seen a fire at least once in their life, but it's usually warm and red. Nowadays though, I guess we can also see blue fires and pink fires and green fires, but those are anomalies. Unlike with sunlight, where it completely bathes everything in its light, all sources of artificial light have a radial effect instead, which means that they only affect a certain area, rather than drowning the entire scene, and are brightest the closer you are to the source. So as you can see, this baby's face is being lit pretty strongly by the candlelight, but the mom's face, whose face is farther away from the candlelight, is lit less. Hopefully this isn't new to you, but be aware that this is what creates believability. If you have a fire in a completely closed room, its light effect will touch everything. But as soon as you introduce any source of natural light, like a sun or a moon, then fire and artificial light will be drowned out by the natural light. So make sure that you understand which is the more dominating light source each time. Therefore, as you can see here, the light from the window is much more powerful than the light that's coming off the lamp. Or in this case, that would be the artificial light source, whereas the window is the natural light source. The next to tackle would be your average light, like a desk lamp or a street lamp. You will notice that these lights obviously have a bit of glow from their source, and the way the light is made creates a light shape. For example, you'll see here that there is an actual umbrella-like structure that the light is creating. And it creates a direction going this way and this way. You won't really see this with sunlight ever, but you only see this with artificial lighting. To make it believable, you have to make sure that you add this kind of shape inside your painting. Some lights will be stronger than others. You can see that here, these lights barely affect anything other than themselves. And again, the light from the windows, the natural light, is much more powerful than the artificial light, which are these lamps here. It's hard to make any light defeat the sun, and natural light is almost always the winner. So that's why there's a stronger emphasis on it above all else. Artificial lighting can also go into the hyper crazy category, such as in Cyberpunk 2077, or the cyberpunk genre as a whole really. They love their neon lights, which bathes everything in their strange funky pinks and blues. Basically, sci-fi loves artificial lighting. This is such as Blade Runner, Godzilla vs. Kong, Pacific Rim. It gives off that super futuristic techie feel. Also, don't forget magic is also artificial light. Don't think I didn't forget about magic. The reason is because it, just like a lamp or fire, only affects things in a radial area. It doesn't really bathe things, unless you have a sun made out of magic, which is totally could be a thing, but regardless, in most cases, magic is also a source of artificial light. One thing to realize is that both artificial and natural light can give off, say like a green light or blue light, but they will still feel very different. We can change the color of our desk lamp very easily, but we cannot change the color of our sun. If you can do that, please call me. I need to know your ways. But our sun stays a mostly yellow, white, or orange-red kind of light. So when we see a green scene out in the wild, the light on the characters, or the light that is peeking out, is always a bright yellow or a white light. So yellow light is hitting these trees here and is hitting these characters here. It's like a yellow-white kind of light. It will always color the local value towards a yellow or warm tint. Therefore, it's very different from actually using a green light, which bathes the entire thing in green. Therefore, a common mistake that I see people doing would be that they would try to color something. So for example, let's say that you have this super cute photo of a dog and you want to paint it to be brighter. Sometimes what people will like to do if they want to incorporate sunlight into this painting, all they want to do is just make something brighter by adding white, which really isn't the way to go. So if you just add white, you kind of just get a brighter picture. You don't really feel like there's a warmth or a sunlight, but rather, now going back to original, if you wanted to add sunlight into it, or have some kind of warm artificial light, then you should add a warm color tint, like this. And that way, it will feel a lot more as if sunlight was streaming through the windows, and it feels a lot more lit overall. Think about when a little kid draws grass. Why does it look so fake when kids draw grass as green and the sky as blue? Because grass, at least when you look at it in real life, it's not actually green. So if you're just going to color the sky blue and make the grass green and something looks really off, the grass actually needs to be a little bit more yellow than that. Because when you look at an actual photo of grass, you can see that the sky gives off this warm yellow light, and thus the grass should also be a bit more yellow lit. I literally just took the colors out from the image to be able to create this grass that definitely looks so much more believable than what was originally there. The same thing occurs for the nighttime. A normal little kid would paint the sky to be like a dark blue and then paint the grass to be a green. But as you can clearly see, something looks really off about this image. The reason is because the grass really shouldn't be that shade of green. As we talked about before, because it's nighttime, our eyes can't really sense super vibrant colors, so everything kind of turns to dark and monotone blue. Therefore, our grass actually needs to be colored essentially black. And you can see that I have little pockets of slight blue-green that pop out every once in a while to make it feel as if being lit. And this grass feels so much more natural than whatever the heck that we did for this one. Which I reiterate, please, by all means, use reference in your paintings. If there's a scene or time of day that you don't really know how to paint, just look at Mother Nature and just look at the photographs. So really keep that in mind. It will make your color and light more believable. Such as, are you in strong sunlight? Then you should make your blacks warmer. Make them more brown. See how the artist Kim English here is making the blacks of this lady just stretch more towards brown? Or are you in a cool light, like in the shadows? Then you should make your whites turn into blues. Really let it drown in that blue color. This makes your piece so much more believable, it makes the light believable, and it gives your piece vibrancy and beauty. Because to be honest, a neutral lighting setup is actually a bit rare in the picture making world. Now, this was a much shorter lecture to make up for the 20-minute one that you had to watch regarding daylight scenarios, because artificial light is a lot more simple to explain and comprehend. And at this point, we're not even talking about artificial light anymore, we're just talking about how light really affects color. I totally get it that it can be really difficult to choose colors and know what is what and what is where, and what color to put for this and what color to put for that. But now that you know all of what I just taught you, take your piece's color and break it down. Ask yourself, what is my primary light source? Is it the sun? If so, what's the time of day? And then go ahead and find reference images that correlate to that time of day. Or if your primary light source is an artificial light, think to yourself, how strong is that light? How far is it going to affect the colors of my piece? As an example, I'll pull up the piece that I did for the PlayStation magazine cover for Cyberpunk 2077. When I was sketching and deciding what to do for the piece, I asked myself, number one, what's my main light source? Well, I told myself I wanted to be the sun. I wanted to come out from behind the character and backlight them. Okay, check, got it. Then what's the color gonna be? Well, I want this piece to be really warm and kind of pink because Cyberpunk is so famous for its pink hues. Since my main light source is the sun, and I want a pink sky, then it's gotta be either sunset or sunrise. Because the city in Cyberpunk is called Night City, I will make it sunset. Alright, cool. And so then I look for reference images of sunsets, which are right here. Then as I take the piece to a finish, I also bump along small artificial lights on the way. Like these holograms in advertisements. Here, 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 here. Basically like everywhere. Like these small little artificial lights. So I asked myself, how strong are these lights? And I know that no matter what, they can't be stronger than my main light source, or the sun. So I'll just have them affect a little portion of the piece. So as you can see, these small lights don't give off too much of a light, and they just affect a little bit of the surrounding area, but the main light is coming right here to my character. And with that, my artificial lights are done. The entire scene is bathed in this semi-pink light from a sunset-like scene, and by breaking the color down to these simple steps and questions, I have a very solid piece that does not look like a 90s cheap advertisement website, even though I have a lot of color that's going around. And you can do the exact same thing. Don't be afraid to use reference. Mother Nature will never sue you, I promise. If she does, I will personally be your lawyer. But that's it. Color is just that. It's light and color coming together to wash over your painting in a filter-like manner. Now let's take you through a demo to further demonstrate this and show you how you can do it easily yourself.